Good afternoon. Today is the 22nd day of January 2016. We are continuing with the series Sri Aurobindo's poetry with Ahana, and as always, together with Alok. We're on page 532, beginning with virtuous.
Yes, maybe.
Okay.
You can read a few lines.
Virtuous, yes, there are many, but who is there innocent? Toiling, therefore, we seek, but find not that Eden, planting and spoiling. This is the garden, we say, lo, the trees, and this is the river. Vainly redeemers came, not one has availed to deliver.
Very powerful lines.
Whoa.
And this gives us a different understanding about the story of Eden, the Garden of Eden and the fall of Adam and Eve. Thus far, the story is recounted as the quest for knowledge which woke up in the early stages of humanity, which led him into the mental groove. And as he went into the mental groove of nature, he lost that innocence. So because of that loss of innocence, he developed the sense of sin and virtues, good and evil, because he lost that spontaneity of nature. In nature, this doesn't exist, till the even early primitive humanity, this doesn't exist.
But this is still a much higher.
Yeah. This is a very, it doesn't exist even in the divine. But in the mental consciousness, because it needs frames and it needs to navigate, it loses the sure instinct of the animal world, and it brings in something like a corruption in the file, distortion in the file. So for instance, animals will eat only when they are hungry. So, they have a very valid reason to pray and eat. But man will not only eat when he is hungry, he will eat when he is simply for the pleasure of it. He will preserve food because maybe he'll someday need it. So this has come in with the mind, because mind begins to anticipate the future. Mind gets hooked on to pleasure, and it turns on in the mind even when the object is not there. So it keeps on moving, that memory of the pleasure lingers in the mind, because mind is the one which actually derives the pleasure in man. So many such reasons why mind needs. So therefore the only way to navigate is through the sense of what is good and what is not good. In animals is by instinct. Aurobindo says beautifully, and of course with his beautiful sense of humor, in one of his aphorisms, that God plays the fool in season. Man plays the fool in and out of season. That becomes a big problem, because, God also plays sometimes that, he didn't know he plays plays like a fool, but he knows when to do it. Perfect timing. But man doesn't know it, so he does it all the time, and this is a problem. So we have lost that innocence. Okay, we may be virtuous, but virtuosity is very different from being innocence. Innocence is not to have the sense of sinfulness.
Yes.
One very nice story which is there in the Indian mythology, that sage Vyasa and his son Shukdev, they are walking across a bridge. And not Shukdev, this is another person. He became a Vairagi at a very young age. But both of them are walking across a river. And as Vyasa comes on the bridge, there are some women who are taking a bath, and suddenly they begin to adjust their dresses because there is a man passing by. And next comes the boy. He is also a grown-up youth. But when he passes, they make no such gesture. So the story is recounted that Vyasa is also crossed. He doesn't have carnal desires inside him. But there is something in him which vibrates. And that's something which is very unconscious, subconscious. The world responds to that. Whereas this boy is truly free of all sense of sin and corruption. So he walks and he is free inwardly, and those around him feel free. They don't feel that, any vibration coming from him.
And the women make no motion.
No motion. So this is the difference between virtuosity. Of course, Vyasa is much more than virtue. It's really, he's a yogi. But virtuosity is created by very consciously, deliberately holding back the sense of sin. And therefore, it is said that, it is, or the saint, Aurobindo, another aphorism, the saint is he who cherishes his sins in secret. It's very, it may sound like but he sees through the human mask and the human nature. But nevertheless, once we have entered into this grove, we have only one choice, to go farther beyond it. We can't go back to that innocence. Yet, because of this innocence, this stage of our consciousness, we are always seeking that stage when we'll be free from this, struggle, this conflict, this constant battle between good and evil that takes place around and within our hearts. So this is the other side of the story of Adam and Eve, that we had a state of consciousness when we were free from dualities, and therefore we seek it. So,
but it was the bliss of ignorance.
Yeah, it was the bliss of ignorance, and now we have entered into the circuit of knowledge, and then we will become, conscious of that bliss and freed from the dualities. So Redeemers have come. They have taught us good things, nice things, but they cannot deliver, because you have to take man beyond the mental curve. It's not just about being virtuous, being good, being nice, but something more and something greater. Never can nature go back to her careless and childlike beginning. Laugh of the babe and the song of the wheel in its delicate spinning. Now this again, see the vision of oneness. How the divine can see music in all this. Laugh of the babe and the spinning. How he connects all this and many other things as we go through. Smile of the sun upon flowers and earth's beauty, life without labor, plucking the fruits of the soil and rejoicing in cottage and arbor. Once we have chosen to be as the gods, we must follow that motion. Knowledge must grow in us, might like a Titan's, bliss like an ocean. How powerful these lines. We can't go back to that. So when we talk about, last time also we've read nature, to be one with nature. And in yoga also people said everything comes from the mother. So it's okay. Whatever thoughts come in me, feelings come in me, impulses come in me, mother is everything. So they're coming from mother. So people started hearing a voice and following all kinds of impulses. And Aurobindo had to qualify the truth that mother is everything and everywhere. He said, yes, the mother has also become the lower nature, but you don't have to follow the mother as lower nature, but the mother as the higher nature. Therefore, rejection of lower nature. Otherwise, yogis don't care about nature. They say it's okay, it's a field, doesn't matter. They don't make the distinction. But in Aurobindo's yoga, there is a distinction, and therefore rejection and all these things come into play.
Once, when I was very young, I wrote to Mother about what was happening in New York City, according to... And Nolini writes me back this long letter, and he says, Mother was wondering what was happening there. Well, we have Sri Aurobindo's statement about Lloyd George. Does Mother have to know what Lloyd George had for breakfast?
Yes, had for breakfast. But you are still young. Only you understand now the New York City better. With this new vision. So, it's a very powerful line. I'll read again. Once we have chosen to be as the gods, we must follow that motion. Knowledge must grow in us, might like a Titan's, bliss like an ocean, calmness and purity born of the spirit's gaze on the real. Calmness and purity born of the spirit's gaze on the real. Rapture of his oneness embracing the soul in a clasp hymeneal. Now he brings us to, just as there is a story of Garden of Eden, we have in India the story of Vrindavan.
Vrindavan.
And Krishna tried to manifest it upon earth, but it was not possible except for a brief moment. So the story, as the story goes, now this is slightly different. The Garden of Eden is elsewhere, but Krishna tried to create that Vrindavan here. But eventually all the gopes and gopis who danced with him turned into bushes and herbs, because earth could not contain, and Krishna had to leave the place, and his own family members ended up destroying themselves, because earth is not ready for that wonderful play. But here comes these lines: was it not he once in Vrindavan, woods divine to our yearning, memorable always, O flowers, O delight on the treetops burning? Grasses his herds have grazed, and crushed by his feet in the dancing, Yamuna flowing with song through the greenness always advancing. See, the presence of the divine in matter upon earth makes such a difference. Otherwise, it's the same Yamuna. But when Yamuna flows at the feet of Krishna, it's a different experience. It's a very interesting story in Ramayana, similar about Lord George Lloyd having breakfast. There is a similar story that when Sita is kidnapped by Ravana, so Rama asks all these trees, the flowers, the grass, the greenery around, have you seen my Sita? Have you seen my Sita? Without you, without Sita, all this beauty is worth nothing. Many people would see in it nothing but a romantic poetry. But if you see the symbol of Ramayana, you realize that without the Divine Mother's touch, everything which is beautiful, wonderful, becomes nothing. So, Krishna playing along the banks of Vrindavan, Yamuna, dancing in Vrindavan gives it a different feel. And when he's no more there, it's nothing but a dead bank of a river. But somewhere the touch is there.
Yes. And we have that marvelous line in Savitri, where she presses her feet, course streams of entrancing Ananda.
Miraculous streams of an entrancing Ananda. Yet the memory lingers.
Yeah.
And you can contact it. That also comes. That what is left behind. You'll see that. You, unforgotten, remind, for his flute, with its sweetness ensnaring, sounds in our ears in the night, and our souls of their teguments bearing. Hails us out naked and absolute, out to his woodlands eternal, out to his moonlit dances, his dalliance sweet and supernal. And we go stumbling, maddened and thrilled to his dreadful embraces. Look at the line. We go maddened. People wonder, why do people come all the way to Pondicherry? After all, weather-wise, sea-wise, there are many things, which can be, and especially, to coming all the way to this crowded tourist destination in India with minimum facilities. This is it. Something in the soul hears the call, and its teguments are open, and they come all the way, abandoning, a kind of destiny which materially would have been different.
Yes.
So here come these lines that, even this is an experience of Vrindavan and the gopis and gopis, the fact that souls are called and driven by the cry of the Lord within. And we go stumbling. We don't know where we are going, maddened and thrilled to his dreadful embraces. These embraces which destroy the teguments of the soul, and these teguments say, I am getting hurt.
Yeah.
Dreadful embraces. Slaves of his rapture to Vrindavan crowded with amorous faces. Luminous kine in the green glade seated, soft-eyed gazing, flowers on the branches distressing us, moonbeams unearthly amazing. This experience you can't have even physically looking at the beauty of nature.
It's almost too much.
It's just too much. Look at, Aurobindo endows everything with a different beauty, a different life, as if, he brings out the divinity hidden in them. We also see flowers, we enjoy and we love it, and, it's so beautiful to see. But look at this vision. Flowers on the branches, distressing us. What is this distress that one feels looking at a flower? Almost, the distress of a lover wanting to, embrace that beauty, to hold that beauty, to contain it, but cannot.
Yes.
Moonbeams, unearthly, amazing, Yamuna flowing before us, laughing low with her voices. Brindavan arching over us, where Shama sports and rejoices. Inly the miracle trembles repeated, mist walls are broken, hiding that country of God, and we look on the wonderful token, clasp the beautiful body of the eternal, his flute call of yearning, cries in our breast with its blissful anguish, forever returning. So this is the touch which the divine leaves quivering upon earth. And it doesn't fade away. So even when he withdraws from this earthly field or this field of matter, it keeps on seeking that touch. Because it has something new now in it. And Mother has spoken about it. That wherever we have put our feet, we have released this supramental consciousness into matter. And matter has received it with gratitude. These are her words. So now the moment you take an earthly body, you take on matter. And this matter will remember. And it will yearn. And it will make the soul yearn. So, the yoga is reversed when the divine comes and goes. Because divine does something in matter itself. And the bodies that are born after that begin to automatically also carry with them that yearning, that anguish. And then last two wonderful lines. Life flows past us with passionate voices, a heavenly river. All our being goes back as a bride of his bliss to the giver.
There it is.
What a wonderful line. So this is we'll turn to next page. Just as we said, we'll take up. We are on page 534.
Maybe the last line?
The last few lines.
Yeah.
These are but dreams, and the truth shall be greater. Heaven made woman, flower of beatitude, living shape of the bliss of the Brahman. That whatever mankind has experienced, all these touches, these moments, they are still dreams. What is yet to come will be a glory of glories. Heaven made woman. Earlier also, So that's why, because they are invoking Ahana. Ahana, Usha, the dawn of God.
Yes.
She is the divine mother herself in her early rays.
Yes.
So they want something else. Flower of beatitude, living shape of the bliss of the Brahman, art thou not she who shall bring into life and time the eternal? Up till now we have had, this sentiment is also in Savitri, that only we see the footsteps of the gods who have passed.
Yeah.
So they come on earth and they pass away. But now, the bride of Brahman, the bliss of Brahman, the divine mother, they are invoking that you come and establish in the play of time the eternal. Art thou not she who shall bring into life and time the eternal? Body of the summer of the gods, is sweetness virginal, vernal, breathes from thy soul into nature, love sits dreaming in thy bosom, wisdom gazes from thy eyes, thy breasts of God rapture are the blossom. If but the joy of thy feet once could touch our spaces smiting. So what you were saying about her feet. And again in Savitri, Satyavan invokes her, says, descend upon earth.
Descend, O happiness,
With
thy moon gold feet. Enrich earth's floors, upon whose sleep we lie.
So this is the aspiration communicated in Ahana. Earth with a ray from the unknown, on the world's heart heaven's script writing, all then would change into harmony and beauty. Time's doors shudder, swinging wide on their hinges into eternity. Other voices than earth's would be fire in our speech and make deathless our thinking. One who is hidden in light would go visible, multitudes linking. So it is only the Divine Mother who can redeem, finally, because she is the one who is the divine in his other aspect, Brahman, and the passive aspect, the masculine aspect, is the secret presence in matter. But the Divine Mother, in that feminine aspect, is the Shakti which impels matter and all nature. Therefore, she is needed for the change. She is the one who has set everything into motion. And without her consent, nothing can change. So we also see that up till now, all the avatars, they have come. And they have come always with a feminine counterpart. Of course, historicity has it that, some religions have tried to suppress it. Like in Christianity, we don't talk about, any counterpart of Christ, though there is so much so much of hue and cry about it. And Aurobindo himself said that Mother Mary, she was herself an incarnation of the Divine Mother. And of course, there are other stories. Then, of course, in Buddhism also we see that though Buddha is an avatar, no one talks about, the lady who was like a force behind him who gave the direction. Though now, when I went to Bodh Gaya, they are acknowledging it. So they are dedicating a whole temple to Sujata, who had, actually shown him the way. When Buddha was lost, didn't know, he was trying all ways. Then she comes and says, if you pull the bow too fast, too tight, if you pull the string of the bow too tight, it will break. If you make it too lax, you can't use it. So then he discovered the middle path. That's how, she gave him the way. But they've always been behind. In Rama and Sita, Sita stays behind. In Krishna's avatar, Radha stays behind. So in all the avatars, they stay behind. But first time, because there is a new creation, so Aurobindo puts the mother in front and himself goes behind. It's a very interesting play. They are one. Yes, but... And few lines below, far off the gold and the greatness, the rapture too splendid and dire. Are not the ages too young? Too low in our hearts burns the fire? Bringest thou only a gleam on the summits, a cry in the distance, seen by the eyes that are wakened, heard by the spirit that listens? Physically when dawn comes, if you see the mountain peaks, is so amazing, wonderful sight. But down below, it's okay, it's fine, but nothing like that. That glory, that wonder. Form of the formless, all beautiful, lodestar of nature's aspirance, music of prelude, giving a voice to the ineffable silence. All descriptions of the Divine Mother. We have the adoration of the Divine Mother, and here we have another adoration of the Divine Mother. Wonderful lines. First white dawn of the godlight, cast on these creatures that perish, world key of a divine and eternal truth for mortals to cherish. Remember those lines in Savitri where he says, as if time dare not open its doors to God? O bliss, who ever dwellest deep hid within, while men seek the outside and never find. So he invokes the Divine Mother. And here also we have a similar invocation. Come, come, let thy sweetness and force be a breath in the breast of the future, making the God ways alive, immortality's gold red suture. See the supramentalized physical. Immortality's golden red suture. Gold is the supramental and red is the earth. So when the two come together, then immortality shall be
Suture.
established.
Suture.
The
Stitching.
stitching, the link. Deep in our lives there shall work out a honeyed celestial leaven. This is the divine love. Mother has actually used the word divine love is the leaven, which the divine puts into matter to make it ready. Bliss shall grow native to being, and earth be a kin soil to heaven. So after all this journey, the voices are seeking the Divine Mother because only she can establish bliss permanently upon earth.
All here shall be one day.
Her sweetness
is home.
Open the barriers of time, the world with thy beauty enamor, trailing behind thee the purple of thy soul and the dawn moment's glamour. Forcing the heart of the midnight where slumber and secrecy linger, guardians of mystery, touching her bosom with thy luminous finger. Opening the heart of the night, where it, and another line in Savitri, and beauty conquered the resisting world.
Yes.
So this is her work and her advent. Daughter of heaven, break through to me moonlight, mystic and gleaming. Tread through the margins of twilight, cross over borders of dreaming. Vision delightful alone on the peaks whom the silences cover. Vision of bliss, stoop down to mortality, lean to thy lover. We love you.
This is the cry and the
Cry.
call.
Voices, the hunters of joy. They are crying to this most auspicious form of the Divine Mother to come down and bless this earth and touch it, tread its soil, and stay here. Not just in the dreaming spaces of the inner being. Because there it's fine, it's a delightful vision. But she must come close within mortality's range and be one with us. Then comes Ahana's reply. After all this cry and rapture, you see even in Savitri, actually this reminds us of the vision in the moon. There is a long passage where Ashwapati, similar things.
Very similar.
That man comes and goes, centuries pass, vainly, all this he says. And at the end, there is just one small passage where the mother says, "O strong forerunner, I have heard thy cry.
One shall
Descend and break the iron law." Now, there, of course, she gives the assurance that she will come herself and take the Divine Mother's form as an avatar. Here, also she says that I will come. It's a small passage, a very powerful one. Ahana, voice of the sensuous mortal, heart of eternal longing, thou who hast lived as in walls, thy soul with thy senses wronging. This is the problem. It's like a doctor. You go and carry a list of problems. I have this problem, that problem, that problem. Doctor listens carefully, patiently. At the end of it says, you know what? This is the problem. In one line, he summarizes it. That you must have had a bad food last night. Yes. After 100 things he recounts, I have headache, a fever, an indigestion, a pain in the tummy, vomiting, diarrhea, everything. And he says, you know what? What did you eat yesterday?
Yeah, did you eat outside?
That's it. Yes. That he has not told. He has told everything, but not told that. And the doctor pinpoints and gives the remedy. So first he is pinpointing, why is it that the Redeemers come, they touch a while and go away? Why is it that we cannot recapture that bliss? The need for bliss is the cry of these sensuous parts of our nature. But why it cannot stay on earth? And bliss is the highest goal because it's the origin, the source. And yet the problem is, thou who hast lived as in walls, thy soul with thy senses wronging, but I descend at last. Says, okay, I'll come. You can't heal it. I will come. But I descend at last, fickle and terrible, sweet and deceiving, poison and nectar one has dispensed to thee, luring thee, leaving. We two together shall capture the flute and the player relentless. We
Here
two.
we have. Yeah.
She and this creation. We both will
Yes.
together do
Yes.
it. I know what your nature is, what your consciousness is, why you have been dispensed with this duality. But don't worry, I come, and we two together will capture the flute and the player relentless, because he comes and goes away, vanishes. Son of man, thou hast crowned thy life with the flowers that are scentless. This is the problem. You have beautiful flowers, but they don't have the fragrance of the gods.
And an aside, Mother said that it is largely the fragrance of flowers that began her to give significance.
Yes,
It was
yes,
through
yes,
the fragrance
through the
of
fragrance.
flowers.
That's right.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Here it is.
Fragrance, Aurobindo, there is a very, that reminds me also of a very interesting essay. Many, not an essay, play. Many people, straight away go to Aurobindo's later writing, which is very good, of course. But a play he wrote at the age of 18. It's amazing. It's called The Harmony of Virtues.
Ah, yes.
And at the end, he gives the example that what is really virtue from a highest standpoint. So one after another, ultimately he says the sense of the beautiful. And then he gives the example of a flower, that it has three things: the form, the color, and the fragrance.
Yes.
And he says, equates the fragrance to the soul quality. Aurobindo speaks of that. And he says it is this that really gives to the form and the inner character, inner being, the real sense of beauty. So, as you were saying, so we have a very good form and we may have a strong inner being, but without this fragrance of the soul, it's a scentless flower. So this must come out. Chased the delights that wound, but I come and midnight shall sunder. Look at this line. He's not saying chase the delights that wound. Chased the delights that wound. You have been running after things which end up wounding you. You have been chasing. You have surrounded with flowers that are scentless, and you have chased the delights that wound.
That wound. Yes.
But I come. So this is the hope. She's not asking man to do anything. She says, I know what is the problem. This is the problem. But of course we can collaborate. That's wonderful. But I come and midnight shall sunder. Lo, I come, and behind me knowledge descends, and with thunder filling the spaces strength, the angel bears on his bosom. Joy to thy arms, thou shalt look on her face like a child's or a blossom. So that's why Aurobindo says, mother is the goal, mother is the path. If she is achieved, all else comes spontaneously. If you have her, everything else will come. But if you want one by one, it's like, people try to make friends with ministers and, the officers so that they can get favors from one department or another. But if you make friends with the king, you don't need this. All that you need to know, or rather the king himself would say, you know what, he's my guy. That's all.
Yeah.
And who is the lord of the king? The queen. The divine mother. When she says, even the divine is compelled, the Lord is compelled to follow in the wake of her steps. This is their pact.
Yes.
Original pact. She lays down the rules of the game and he plays according to those rules.
And in the passages about the Madonnas,
Yes.
she says exactly what she would
Absolutely. And so here also she says, I will come.
Yeah.
And when I come, knowledge and bliss and strength will just trail behind me. They will spontaneously come. And then what will happen? You will look on her face like a child's or a blossom, innocent, free as in Eden of old, not afraid of her playing. Then we will not be afraid of nature. Oh my God, it's a dreadful snare. That's how the saints and the sages have looked upon it. And we read that.
Yeah.
No, say the wise. Say, no, you will play in nature, with nature. Again, once again, innocent and sinless in your purity. Innocent, free as in Eden of old, not afraid of her playing. When thy desires I have seized and devoured like a lioness preying. What lines! And this can be a prayer. Mother, seize and devour these desires. And Aurobindo says that the desire for the divine is the one desire which can take away all other desires from you. If we pray to her, Mother, you destroy these. She will seize upon them. This, look at he plucked desire from its bleeding roots and offered to the gods the vacant place.
Yes.
But now we have a much simpler way. And she does it much more beautifully. Nolini wrote to Aurobindo when he felt the desire to eat a little greater lemon. He was a bit unhappy that the size of the lemon is growing smaller and smaller. So he did not ask for it. He wrote to Aurobindo, why I had this desire that the lemon should be little greater. So Lord, with a butcher's knife, take away this desire from my heart. He doesn't ask for a bigger sanction of lemon. And Aurobindo replies, take out, yes, but why with a butcher's knife? Why not with a surgeon's scalpel? Why you want the divine to be a butcher? So when she comes, she takes it away in such a beautiful way that we don't even feel the sting. It takes time, but eventually she removes it. But yes, thou shalt not suffer always, nor cry to me lured and forsaken. What a wonderful line. The divine lures us. At the same time we feel he has forsaken us. Viraha, Vedana, mixed with prem and urge for union, milan. We want to unite with him. We are lured by him, attracted by him. But when he escapes from the range of the very mortal senses, inner being you experience, but you want the touch. The touch in the most concrete matter. And then you feel, forsaken. Not forsaken in, of course, this is from human. The bhakta would not feel, but he longs for that, craves for that touch in the very matter. And then again the divine will provide some touch in matter. And then you are happy. And then again you feel, this was only a promo, you want the real thing. This is how, slowly the touch grows. And then wonderful lines. I have a snare for his footsteps. I have a chain for him taken. In the Mahabharata, Sahadev says, you cannot avoid war unless you tie Krishna. Krishna cannot be tied. Duryodhana tried and failed miserably. But there is a way to tie him, to bring him back to earth. And that is by the grace of the Divine Mother. She alone can do this. I have a snare for his footsteps. I have a chain for him taken. Come then to Vrindavan, soul of the joyous. Faster and faster, follow the dance I shall teach thee, with Shyama for slave and for master. What a line. We have learned the wrong steps. And we are habituated to the steps taught by the lower nature. Now we have to learn the new dance to keep up with the rhythms of the Lord. And then we can, when we do it, he becomes a slave to all that we seek in life, because he has to give the fulfillment. Look, slave. How does the divine become slave? Actually, most of us unwittingly treat him like that. Lord, I want this. Now, whom do you say this? Either to somebody whom you fully trust, or somebody to whom you entrust your errands. I want this. And he gets it somehow from somewhere. How? And he's joyous. And then we realize, oh my God, he's the master whom we were saying. Then we say, no, I want you. I want to be your slave. You tell me what you want and I want to do this. Champaklalji once told Mother, thus far I have served you only according to what I thought I should serve you. Now I want to serve you as you want me to serve you. So how does Shyama become slave? He is slave as well as the master. So he provides everything, but he is also the master of everything that he provides. Come then to Vrindavan, soul of the joyous, faster and faster, follow the dance I shall teach thee, with Shama for slave and for master. Follow the notes of the flute, with a soul aware and exulting. Trample delight that summits and crouch to a sweetness insulting. Marvelous lines. Trample delight, matter itself, all your journey everywhere, right up to matter, right up to your feet, right up to the subconscious. You walk as if on delight. At the same time, all around you, all over you, there is a sweetness. How does sweetness insult you? How would, something that is so sweet insult you? The only way it can insult is by saying, look, there is more. You have it, but there is something still more. You can have it. So, have it a little more. So, this is a sweetness insulting. Then shall thou know what the dance meant, fathom the song and the singer. Hear behind thunder its rhymes, touched by lightning, thrill to his finger. Right now we are shaken when the thunder hoofs of God comes to us. We are terrified. We hide inside our comfort zones. God is coming, God is coming. We had heard it, but we are hearing something terrible. We thought he will come playing the flute, but what is this thunder that I am hearing? What is this storm that I am seeing? What is this lightning that are flashing in the skies? There is a very nice, even this in mystic experience, this is true. That before the light dawns, one steps first into a night of God. Yes. Savitri speaks about it. So night of God is a state when all that you groped on, rested upon, was like a crutch is taken away from you. All the supports.
And it's the
including the support of your intellect.
Yes.
The pride of the intellect, they are gone. And then he laughs and gives them back to you, but as his. No more yours. They are his, and he will use it. So this thunder and lightning, and Meera has a bhajan, very beautiful song where she says, I'll first say 2 lines in Hindi, then Sunire mein Hari Avan ki awaj. I am hearing the coming of Hari, the Lord. And then she says, Badal dekh dari. But suddenly I hear the thunder and the crash of clouds in the sky, and something in me shrinks, and I am scared. So this is an experience, real experience, inwardly as well as in outer life.
Yes.
The last 2 lines. Brindavan's rustle shall understand, and Yamuna's laughter. The soul of the joyous is redeemed when there is thunder and lightning. You see, it takes us to the original story. When Krishna is born in the prison house of Kansa, the guards are asleep. They don't know what has happened, what a great event has happened. And even Vasudev, who is bearing this child, all that he knows is he will kill Kansa. He doesn't know anything beyond it. And he is also scared, looking at the thunder and the lightning in the sky and the Yamuna racing in spate. But nature has understood. And so it leaps up and leans down to touch the feet of the child who is born. So, this one line connects with that story. That they will understand. Brindavan's rustle shall understand, and Yamuna's laughter. This is not in spate. She is laughing, happy. Nature in us seems to suddenly exalt beyond limits because she feels the touch of the divine. Take thy place in the ras and thy share of the ecstasy after. Ras, of course, is the grand dance of Krishna in Vrindavan. So you have a place there, but you have to get rid of this soul wronging with the senses, cabling yourself into walls. So you have this prayer, this aspiration, but you have to get rid of these flowers that are scentless surrounding your life. You are chasing delights that wound you. But anyways, now I come and I'll teach you the new dance, the new rhythm. And then I will bring him near to you and I'll show you your place in the grand ecstasy and ecstatic dance of the divine. We'll stop with these 2 lines, or rather 4 lines. Actually, last 6-8 lines. I have a snare for his footsteps. I have a chain for him taken. Come then to Vrindavan, soul of the joyous, faster and faster. Follow the dance I shall teach thee, with Shyama for slave and for master. Follow the notes of the flute with a soul aware and exulting. Trample delight that summits and crouch to a sweetness insulting. Then shalt thou know what the dance meant, fathom the song and the singer. Hear behind thunder its rhymes, touched by lightning, thrill to his finger. Brindavan's rustle shalt understand, and Yamuna's laughter. Take thy place in the ras and thy share of the ecstasy after.